Another big tech company making headlines today is Amazon. They're under fire for using software that tracks employees and then recommends firing those employees. Joining me now, the Creepy Line director, Matthew Taylor, and National Republicans Lawyer Association board member, Harmeet Dhillon. Harmeet, let me start with you because this story broke in Verge last week, and it's really alarming in the sense that you've got intellectual, artificial intelligence and robots monitoring human beings and then essentially saying, yeah, these people aren't doing their jobs, which are tremendously arduous. And a lot of people on both sides of the political aisle says that Amazon has gone too far.
Oh, absolutely. And as a lawyer who practices labor and employment law, I can tell you that Amazon had issues with employees and the way it treats them in these warehouses way before this news broke. But the combination of artificial intelligence really allows Amazon to kind of brutalize its employees. I mean, employees who work at these warehouses have told me they're afraid to use the bathroom. They are monitored every second. And God forbid this type of inhumane treatment of workers comes to other industries. It will really devastate the way we treat each other in the workplace. Well,
it's only going to get worse since that announcement of two-day delivery. The stress and strains on their warehouses, Matthew, is going to be amazing. They say this system tracks what they call time off task, TOT. So the time that you take in between lifting boxes, and again, it gets to Harmeet's point. Some people are afraid to go to the bathroom.
Well, look, I think this just further shows us what Amazon's indicative behaviors of how they view human beings. You know, they obviously favor certain customers over their workers. I mean, it's borderline human rights violation, and I wouldn't want to see this technology put into other industries, fast food and other places like that. But they are kind of going to create an environment where other businesses will adopt this. And I think it can be very dangerous because remember, the people who buy from Amazon are also the people who work at Amazon and all these other places.
Right, or you have a nephew who works there, somebody, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I will say they have 600,000 employees. That's more than the city of Milwaukee, but they're all going to have to figure out a way to treat them better. Also in this iPhone thing, I want to ask you about this, Matthew. Some are feeling, okay, maybe they don't want competition for their own app, or maybe they're just being hypocrites. Yeah. Tim Cook saying one thing, but the company doing something else.
Well, look, this has been going on with Apple since the beginning. I mean, they have, we don't want you to make a music player, or we don't want you to make another web browser. They have all of these kinds of things that you can and cannot do with the apps that you make. And so Apple's been known to make apps that mimic other apps and then kill other apps. So they're going to have to make a stand and say, look, you can't do these things on our platform, or you can do these things on our platform, but you can't let a developer, let their technology go and then basically steal it and then bar them from the platform.
Yeah. And Harmeet, your thoughts on the latest with Apple? And again, I don't know if there's a legal thing here, but certainly we're veering into big hypocrisy. Tim Cook has put himself in a position where he has talked down his Silicon Valley rivals. And I don't know how Apple, at some point, trying to monetize all of those eyeballs in their universe, aren't going to run into the same issues.
Exactly, Charles. When I was hearing the story, if you weren't listening closely and you thought it was about Google rather than Apple, you would not be surprised, because this is exactly the type of behavior that Google has been accused of, an anti-competitive, squeezing out its competitors on its own platform. And so to your question about whether there's any legal remedy, sure, it's a potential antitrust violation. It is an unfair business practice under state and federal law. It could be potentially theft of intellectual property if that can be proven. So there are a number of issues that Apple could face in the courts or in the regulatory environment for doing this type of thing. And the EU is going to crack down much harder on them, much quicker than our American legal system. Washington is a little more bogged down with the lobbyists and a little bit harder to get things done there.
Yeah, Christina, with that breaking news and a couple of those developers, it's sort of you sense that they were suggesting that very thing, that maybe somehow Apple either discovered the same abilities that they had, or somehow came about them and then got rid of them. Harmeet, Matthew, thank you both very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Happy to be here.
Hey, Democrats.